Do you lack access to a CPA? Is your fear of taxes holding you back from starting your small business? In this video, I'm going to answer the questions that a lot of people have on their mind before starting a business. Do I need to understand taxes? A lot of people are hesitant to start their own business because they think they need to know everything about small business taxes. But the truth is, you don't need to be an accountant to start and run your own business. In this video, I'm going to break down the basics of understanding small business taxes and what you need to know before starting your dream small business as a first-time or new entrepreneur. The good news here is that you don't have to be a tax expert in order to start your business. That would be unreasonable and a big insurmountable struggle for most Americans, as the tax code is very complicated and changes every year and throughout each administration. That being said, it's unreasonable to think that you could get away with not having a basic understanding of taxes and still run a financially successful business. So let's take a look at 3 simple things that will be an excellent foundation for you to build your knowledge on small business taxes so that your business can be successful. As we go through this initial video, keep in mind that it is a very, very 10,000 feet view. We will break down all of this into detail in future videos, and if you have any questions or need clarity on anything I say, please drop your questions in the comment section. And before we begin, I want to remind you that this information is for general and educational purposes only. The tax code is very complicated, and I do not have enough time to go through each and every possible outcome with everything I have to share with you. If you have a specific situation, please don't put personal identifying information in the comments. Please contact a CPA, attorney, or enrolled agent near you. They'll be able to help, and they have the ability to maintain confidentiality with your personal situation. The first thing you're probably wondering, and the first thing that I'm usually asked, is how do I pay business tax? So we're going to start, and we're going to look at, for beginners, regular income tax, which is paid to the IRS. How you actually pay your income tax will depend on your business structure. Sole proprietorships and single-member LLCs will not have an additional tax return. Instead, they will file a Schedule C along with their personal tax return. What this means is that their business income and associated self-employment taxes will be accounted for on a single return. This can be simple for many small business owners first starting out, as they will not have to worry about filing, preparing, or having any supplemental tax returns prepared. Partnerships, S corporations, and multi-member LLCs will file a business tax return with no tax due. This doesn't get you out of paying tax, however. The tax is still paid by each individual owner, and they will receive what is called a K-1 schedule that is generated based on their business tax return and report the income and deductions from that K-1 schedule on their personal tax return. A corporation will pay tax twice. Once when the corporation files and earns net income, and a second time when the earnings are distributed to the owner via dividends or wages. This is known as double taxation, and it's the reason why many small businesses will use one of the other business structures I mentioned above to avoid this double taxation. Generally, they will select the LLC or S corporation. I will go over these in greater detail in later videos. So, if you want more information on business structure and you want an idea of what business structure is right for you, I have a guide with 5 simple questions that you can ask yourself to determine if you need an LLC or S corporation for your business. I'll add a link below in the description, and there's also a link in my header. Click there, enter your email address, and it'll be sent right to you, along with many, many other free information about business taxes, starting your small business, and managing and scaling. Moving on. You're probably wondering now, okay, so I know how I'm going to pay tax, but what taxes will I owe? Small business owners want to know what small business taxes they will owe. Of course, everybody is familiar with the concept of tax. Everyone has experience paying their income taxes if they've been an employee of a business. How much tax you owe will depend on your profit, and as well as any additional credits and deductions that you would be entitled to. If you are a small business owner, you will also pay self-employment tax. Self-employment tax is really the small business equivalent of Social Security and Medicare, also known as FICA taxes that are withheld out of your paycheck. The difference is that for employees, the employer pays half and the employee pays half of the FICA tax. But when you are self-employed, you are both the owner and the employer. Therefore, you're on hook for the whole tax. Don't worry, you're only paying self-employment tax on your profit, and there are strategies that get your full tax burden as legally low as possible, including deducting half of your self-employment tax when calculating your income subject to income tax. This will put you on a little bit more of an even footing with employees. In addition to the above federal taxes, which include the income tax and the self-employment tax, you will owe tax to the state that you live in or any state that you have a physical location in. If you are engaging in multi-state commerce, it's always a good idea to contact a tax expert in your particular location so they can make sure that you're filing taxes wherever necessary. Depending on the product or services that you sell, you also may have to collect sales tax for your customers and remit those to the state where the products were sold or delivered. Each state has its own guidance surrounding what is subject to sales tax and who has to register. In some states, certain digital assets are also subject to sales tax, so do not assume that just because you have an online business and do not deliver physical product that you do not have to collect and remit sales tax. Lastly, if your small business will have employees, you will be required to pay employment taxes for those employees. So now you understand what taxes you owe and how you have to pay them. You're probably wondering if there are any additional business tax reporting obligations. While it's a given that you will have to file your small business tax return or your Schedule C, small business owners have other tax reporting obligations that they need to be aware of. The IRS holds you responsible for knowing and understanding these. You cannot blame it on the lack of knowledge. So let's start. For starters, you'll have to file and remit sales tax to any state where you are obligated to collect those sales tax. For most, this will be the state that you live in or have a physical location in, such as a warehouse. Again, there are 50 states in the United States, and all of them have different sales tax regulations. Some don't even have sales tax at all. So be sure to check the taxability of any of your products, offering, or services to be sure that you're in compliance. In general, if you're a very small business just getting started, you only need to concern yourself with the state that you live in or any state where you have a warehouse. So that is a good place to start, and it's always a good first question to ask any tax return preparer that you may be looking to hire. A small business owner will also have to file employment tax returns if they have employees. In addition, they will need to make sure that their employees receive W-2s every year. There's a great software called Gusto that handles this seamlessly that many small businesses use. I'm not currently affiliated with them, and I get nothing for mentioning them. I've worked with small businesses that use them, and they handle the filing of employment tax returns and make sure all employees get the required W-2s on time. Historically, this was one of the harder taxes to stay on top of, so I'm glad to see that there are some great applications out there in the market that will help. I am sure there are some alternative services to Gusto, but that's the one I'm most familiar with. Again, I'm not affiliated. Your mileage may vary, but you may want to look into them if you have employees. You will also be responsible for providing a 1099 to every consultant, contractor, and non-corporate entity that you paid over $600 cash or check during the year. There are two key concepts in that sentence: non-corporate and cash and check. Firstly, if you use your credit card to pay everything, you will absolve yourself from the 1099 reporting requirement because the credit card company will be the one to issue the tax forms. This is true if you use a payment processor as well, which includes PayPal and Venmo. Be careful though, with PayPal and Venmo, as you are only exempt from 1099 reporting if you use the business. If you use friends and family to send the money, you will still have to send the 1099 form. I also mentioned corporations. Most large businesses are corporations, so you will not have to send a 1099 to, say, Walmart or Target. I know what you're thinking. How would you know what tax ID number to use? Most of the time, a reputable business will put an EIN on their invoice, which makes providing a 1099 form a breeze. For independent contractors or consultants operating in an individual capacity, they will need to fill out a W-9 form for your records. Most businesses will require this to be filled out prior to allowing the contractor or consultant to provide any billable services. I'm so excited to wrap up this first video from Small Business University. In the past few minutes, you've gotten a lot of general information about small business taxes, what taxes you have to pay, and what your tax reporting obligations are as a small business owner. This is a big step to becoming an empowered entrepreneur. Hit that follow button. Be sure to subscribe and head on over to www.smallbizuniversity.com and sign up for a free guide to starting your small business. I have a ton of free resources, including printables, that I share with my audience. Stay tuned for further episodes as we will be dropping videos at least weekly. We will be going into detail on many of the concepts that we brushed on today. I realize that this wasn't a very detailed video, but it serves as a foundation for you to build your tax awareness on. As always, if you need anything, hit me in the comments and I respond to every single one of them. Alternatively, you can email me at megan@smallbusinessuniversity.com. Thanks.